Carcassonne is a fortified French town in the Aude department, of which it is the prefecture, in the region of Languedoc-Roussillon.Occupied since the Neolithic period. Carcassonne is located in the Aude plain between two great axes of circulation linking the Atlantic to the Mediterranean Sea and the Massif Central to the Pyrenees. Its strategic importance was quickly recognized by the Romans, who occupied its hilltop until the demise of the Western Roman Empire, and was later taken over in the 5th century by the Visigoths, who founded the city. Also thriving as a trading post due to its location, it saw many rulers who successively built up its fortifications, until its military significance was greatly reduced by the Treaty of the Pyrenees in 1659. The city is famous from the cité de Carcassonne, a medieval fortress restored by the theorist and architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc in 1853 and added to the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites in 1997. Consequently, Carcassonne greatly profits from tourism but also counts manufacture and winemaking as some of its other key economic sectors. History. The first signs of settlement in this region have been dated to about 3500 BC, but the hillside of Carcassonne, a Celtic place name that has been retained at other sites in the south, became an important trading place in the 6th century BC. The volcanic tectosages fortified the oppidum. The folk etymology, involving a chatelaine named Carcass, arose ending a siege and the joyous ringing of bells, though memorialized in a neo-Gothic sculpture of Mme. Carcass on a column near the Narbonne Gate, is of modern invention. The name can be derived as an augmentative of the name Carcass. Carcassonne became strategically identified when Romans fortified the hilltop around 100 BC and eventually made the colonia of Julia Carsaco, later Carcassonne. The main part of the lower courses of the northern ramparts dates from Gallo-Roman times. In 462 the Romans officially ceded Septimania to the Visigothic king Theodoric II, who had held Carcassonne since 453. He built more fortifications at Carcassonne, which was a frontier post on the northern marches. Traces of them still stand. Theodoric is thought to have begun the predecessor of the basilica that is now dedicated to Saint Nazaire. In 508 the Visigoths successfully foiled attacks by the Frankish king Clovis. Saracens from Barcelona took Carcassonne in 725, but King Pepin the Short drove them away in 759–60. Though he took most of the south of France, he was unable to penetrate the impregnable fortress of Carcassonne. A medieval fiefdom, the county of Carcassonne, controlled the city and its environs. It was often united with the county of Razes. The origins of Carcassonne as a county probably lie in local representatives of the Visigoths, but the first count known by name as Bello of the time of Charlemagne. Bello founded a dynasty, the Bellonides, which would rule many honors in Septimania and Catalonia for 3 centuries. In 1067, Carcassonne became the property of Raymond Bernard Trencavel, Viscount of Albion-Nîmes, through his marriage with Ermengarde, sister of the last Count of Carcassonne. In the following centuries, the Trencavel family allied in succession either with the Counts of Barcelona or of Toulouse. They built the Château Comtal and the Basilica of Saint Nazaire and Saint Cels. In 1096, Pope Urban II blessed the foundation stones of the new cathedral. Carcassonne became famous in its role in the Albigensian Crusades, when the city was a stronghold of Occitan Cathars. In August 1209 the crusading army of the papal legate Abitano Amalric forced its citizens to surrender. Raymond Roger de Trencavel was imprisoned whilst negotiating his city's surrender, and died in mysterious circumstances 3 months later in his own dungeon. Simon de Montfort was appointed the new Viscount. He added to the fortifications. In 1240, Trencavel's son tried to reconquer his old domain but in vain. The city submitted to the rule of the Kingdom of France in 1247. Carcassonne became a border fortress between France and the Crown of Aragon under the Treaty of Corbeil. King Louis IX founded the new part of the town across the river. He and his successor Philip III built the outer ramparts. Contemporary opinion still considered the fortress impregnable. During the 100 Years' War, Edward the Black Prince failed to take the city in 1355, although his troops destroyed the Loire town. In 1659, the Treaty of the Pyrenees transferred the border province of Roussillon to France, and Carcassonne's military significance was reduced. Fortifications were abandoned, and the city became mainly an economic center that concentrated on the woolen textile industry, for which a 1723 source quoted by Fernand Braudel found it the manufacturing center of Languedoc. It remained so until the Ottoman market collapsed at the end of the 18th century, thereafter reverting to a country town. Historical importance. Carcassonne was the first fortress to use hoardings in times of siege. Temporary wooden ramparts would be fitted to the upper walls of the fortress through square holes beneath the rampart itself. It provided protection to defenders on the wall and allowed defenders to go out past the wall to drop projectiles on attackers at the wall beneath. Main sites. The fortified city. The fortified city itself consists essentially of a concentric design of two outer walls with 53 towers and barbicans to prevent attack by siege engines. The castle itself possesses its own drawbridge and ditch leading to a central keep. The walls consist of towers built over quite a long period. One section is Roman and is notably different from the medieval walls with the telltale red brick layers and the shallow pitched terracotta tile roofs. One of these towers housed the Catholic Inquisition in the 13th century and is still known as the Inquisition Tower. Carcassonne was struck off the roster of official fortifications under Napoleon and the Restoration, and the fortified cité of Carcassonne fell into such disrepair that the French government decided that it should be demolished. A decree to that effect that was made official in 1849 caused an uproar. The antiquary and mayor of Carcassonne, Jean-Pierre Crosmervier, and the writer Prosper Mérimée, the first inspector of ancient monuments, led a campaign to preserve the fortress as a historical monument. Later in the year, the architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc, already at work restoring the Basilica of Saint-Nazaire, was commissioned to renovate the place. In 1853, works began with the west and southwest walling, followed by the towers of the Porte Narbonnaise and the principal entrance to the cité. The fortifications were consolidated here and there, but the chief attention was paid to restoring the roofing of the towers and the ramparts, where Viollet-le-Duc ordered the destruction of structures that had encroached against the walls, some of them of considerable age. Viollet-le-Duc left copious notes and drawings on his death in 1879, when his pupil Paul Boswellval, and later the architect Aude, continued the rehabilitation of Carcassonne. The restoration was strongly criticized during Viollet-le-Duc's lifetime. Fresh from work in the north of France, he made the error of using slates and restoring the roofs as point-free environment. Yet overall, Viollet-le-Duc's achievement at Carcassonne is agreed to be a work of genius, though not of the strictest authenticity. Another bridge, Pont Merengard, crosses the Canal du Midi and provides access to the railway station. Lac de la Caverne has been created as a recreational lake and is about 5 minutes from the city centre. Further sites include the Basilica of Saint-Nazaire and St. Cel's, Carcassonne Cathedral, Church of St. Vincent. Climate, economy. The newer part of the city on the other side of the Aude River manufactures shoes, rubber and textiles. It is also the center of a major AOC wine-growing region. A major part of its income, however, comes from the tourism connected to the fortifications and from boat cruising on the Canal du Midi. Carcassonne is also home to the MK Performing Arts Academy. Carcassonne receives about 3 million visitors annually. Transport. In the late 1990s, Carcassonne Airport started taking budget flights to and from European airports, and by 2009 had regular flight connections with Porto, Bournemouth, Cork, Dublin, Frankfurt Hahn, London Stansted, Liverpool, East Midlands, Glasgow Prestwick and Charleroi. The Gare de Carcassonne railway station offers direct connections to Toulouse, Narbonne, Perpignan, Paris, Marseille and several regional destinations. The A61 motorway connects Carcassonne with Toulouse and Narbonne. Education. École nationale de l'aviation civile. Language. Historically, the language spoken in Carcassonne and throughout Languedoc-Roussillon was not French but Occitan. Sport. In 2016, Carcassonne will be the starting point for Stage 11 of the 2016 Tour de France. Previously it was the starting point for a stage in the 2004 Tour de France and a stage finish in the 2006 Tour de France. As in the rest of the southwest of France, rugby union is popular in Carcassonne. The city is represented by Union Sportive Carcassonnaise, known locally simply as USC. The club have a proud history, having played in the French Championship final in 1925, and currently compete in Pro D2, the second tier of French rugby. Rugby league is also played by the Carcassonne club. They are involved in the Elite One Championship. Aude is the most notable rugby league player to come from the Carcassonne club. There is a bronze statue of him outside the Stade Albert Domek, at which the city's teams in both codes play. In culture, the French poet Gustave Nadeau made Carcassonne famous as a city. He wrote a poem about a man who dreamed of seeing but could not see before he died. His poem inspired many others and was translated into English several times. Georges Brassens has sung a musical version of the poem. Lord Dunsany wrote a short story, Carcassonne, as did William Faulkner. On the 6th of March 2000, France issued a stamp commemorating the fortress of Carcassonne. The history of Carcassonne is retold in the novels Labyrinth, Sepulchre and Citadel by Kate Moss. A board game and a video game version of it are named after this town. Portions of the 1991 film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves were shot in and around Carcassonne. A 1993 album by Stephen Eicher was named Carcassonne. In the one-man show Sea Wall, starring Andrew Scott, Carcassonne is mentioned frequently as a setting. Personalities. Paul Licombe, composer, 1837. Tessafal Barrow, sculptor, 1848. Paul Sabatier, co-recipient of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, 1854. Gilbert B. Norse, rugby league footballer, 1932. Michael Marchenko, illustrator, 1942. Maurice Sarrail, general of division during the First World War, 1856. David Ferriol, rugby league player, 1979. Olivia Ruiz, pop singer, 1980. Brice Estebanez, rugby union player, 1981. Henry Dustien, painter. International relations. Twin towns. Sister cities. Carcassonne is twinned with Eggenfelden, Germany. Bayazet, Spain. Hogsheim, Germany. Tallinn, Estonia.